Hello and welcome to another video tutorial from Vision. Today I'll be covering how to make a backend for a website that will enable a page administrator or an editor to add content to the website without knowing HTML. I've created a project folder and you can see it contains a few PHP files. We got an admin page, then we got a user page or a page front end. Then I got a file called postcontent.php, and this file will process the data from the backend and store it in a text file. And I will of course also have to create this text file. I'll just call it myfile.txt. And if you want support for exotic continental letters like Danish or Spanish, then you will need to make sure that your text file is encoded in UTF-8 format. And the easiest way to do that is just by opening up the file and changing the encoding type down here and then saving it again. If we take a look at the admin page in a HTML editor, we can see we got the HTML opening tag up here, and in the head section of the document I've added a little bit of styling. Down in the body tags we got a few links that allow us to navigate around the pages. Then there's a little welcome text to the admin. And here is the important part, the form tag. And within the form there's a text area where the admin can type the content. The form tag needs a method attribute with the value post. And we also need to add an action attribute. And in the value here we're just going to refer to our post content PHP file. If we take a look at the text area itself, we can see I've given it a name with the value content and an ID, and within the text area tags I've included the text file so that the admin can edit or see any existing text. Finally, we got a submit button down here that the admin can press, and whenever that happens then the content will be sent via the post method to our post content PHP file. So let's take a look at that file. One line of PHP code, that's all we need in that file. It's a built-in PHP function called file put contents, and you can see the function takes two parameters here. The first one is where we want to store the content, so we just specify our text file here. The second parameter is which content to store, and that was of course the content received through the post method from the text area with the name content. Down here we have our navigation once more and a success message to the admin. With the file put contents function, you can of course add more parameters. You can read more on that on php.net. Now we just need to take a closer look at the user page.php, which was a page front end for visitors. And you can see the only PHP code here is that we've included the text file, this time not within a form tag because the user shouldn't be able to edit the text, but just within a div tag. Now I have uploaded all the files to my server, and I have opened up the admin page here, and in the text area I'm just gonna type in a line here. Hello, this is a message from the admin, and then I'll hit the submit button and I get directed to the post content PHP file. So that indicates that the PHP code is working correctly. Let me just navigate to the user front end here, and here we can see that the content has been added to the front end. But the really clever thing here is if I go back to the admin page, you can see that the existing text is now present in the text area. So I can edit the text, and that's because we used PHP include within the text area, as you remember. To demonstrate, I'll just update the existing text, change it to "this is a message from outer space." Ooh. You're too young to remember that movie theme anyway. But when I hit the submit button, I get the success message, and on the front end we now got the updated content. So everything's working correctly, but the whole concept of communicating with unformatted text is a little bit old-fashioned, sort of the same technology level as a telex machine. So now I'm going to try to show you how to integrate a WYSIWYG editor in our text area. A WYSIWYG is not, as you might think, an extinguished animal, but merely a user interface which allows the admin to format the text and insert pictures and so on. And one of the better ones is written in JavaScript and available for free here at tinymce.com. It's an open source project, and I'm just going to that site and downloading the latest version here. I'll extract the downloaded zip file to my project folder, and that might take a little time. Somewhere in the tinymce folder there should be a JavaScript called tiny_mce.js, and we will have to link to that script in the header of our admin page PHP document. So I'll just go in somewhere in the head section and add a script tag. I don't think it's necessary to use the type attribute anymore, but there's no harm in doing that. And then I'm just gonna link to the JavaScript and close off the script tag again. We also need to add a line of JavaScript where we assign tinymce to our text area element, and also where we can configure the various options. Over at tinymce.com, under documentation, there's some examples on how to do that. And I'm just gonna scroll down to find an example with a whole bunch of options and buttons. Yes, down at the bottom of the page there's an example we can use. So I'm just gonna grab that code and paste it into the document. And as you can see in the mode parameter, this code will assign tinymce to all text areas. I have now uploaded the admin page again and the tinymce library, and when I refresh the page you can see in the browser that we get this cool user interface here in the text area. So now the admin actually have the option to format the text like she or he desires. You can assign style to the text, or you can wrap the text inside the block elements. Here I'm choosing to wrap this inside a header h2 tag, and in the line below I'll add a italic style. Then I'll save it just like before, and the formatting is stored as inline CSS in our text document, and because that is included on the front end, then we get the exact same formatting here. I can also try to insert a link. I'll just type visit my web page, and then I'll just select the text I want to be a link, and hit this little button up here with the chain icon, and you can see in this dialog box I can specify the source here. I can also choose a target attribute, that's whether the window should open in a new window or the same window, and I can even give it a title attribute. That is the text that appears when you hover your mouse over the link, and the effect is visible both in the admin editor and in the front end, and that's what WYSIWYG means. Actually, what you see is what you get. What I like most about tinymce is that you have 100% control over the buttons you want on the interface. And you can also control how many rows of buttons you want. In the folder we downloaded, there's a lot of examples, and I've just used the code from one of those examples now, and I modified it a little bit. I've changed the order of some of the buttons, and I've chosen exactly which buttons I want in the interface. And here's a live view of my customized theme. You can see I've limited the button to only one row, and I've removed a lot of the buttons as well. But there's still plenty of opportunity for the admin to ruin any design. I'll just assign a Comic Sans typeface here, every designer's nightmare, and give it a red color and center it. And as you can see, TinyMCE can really be a dangerous weapon in the hands of an administrator without designer skills. They can easily add 5 or 10 font families in one single post. Okay, now I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking, what about images? There should be an option for the admin to upload images. In a standard installation of TinyMCE, there's no option to upload images, but luckily there is a plugin which will allow you to do that, and it's quite easy to install, and I will show that in the next video tutorial. But there is actually already an option to insert images from an URL, meaning images that already exist on the web. So let me just round this episode off by showing you how to do that. You simply press the icon here with the image on, and then we get the dialog box, and here we can specify the URL of the image. There's also an image description option, and my guess is that is the alt attribute. Then you can apply a different style to the image, floating and the dimension and so on. I'm not gonna apply any image style here. I'm just gonna hit the insert button, and you can see that the developers at TinyMCE have done some really sweet Ajax coding here, because the image comes in right away. We still need to press our submit button, so let's just do that, and let's take a brief moment to admire our work of art on the front end. Okay, that's about all we had time for now. In the next episode I'll show you, as promised, how to enable the administrator to upload images to TinyMCE by installing a plugin. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, don't forget to like and to subscribe. If you didn't, leave me a comment and tell me how I can improve. Anyway, thank you for watching.